Today, we are going to be talking about the importance of civic service projects and how important they are, not just for high school, but for middle school as well. I read this case study by Alfred Arth, and some of the main points he just wrote and talked about how important and valuable really civics projects are in middle school, and I was looking at it through the perspective of a science classroom. So his 5 main points that were really important, you can see them right here. The 5 things that can be gained from a civics project: the heightened development of student self-esteem, a heightened degree of correlation of subject matter areas, an increased degree of involvement of parents and community members, and heightened student cooperative learning, and finally, more opportunities for positive middle-level communication within the community. Some things that stuck out to me: I cannot stand the phrase that the kids are the future, because I certainly believe that the kids in schools around America can do great things now, and I'm kind of a believer that that phrase is just a lame excuse to do awesome things as an adult, when in reality a lot of students are capable of doing awesome things as a child. So when I was reading this, I was thinking about it again in the perspective of a science teacher, and the first thing that popped in my head was the idea of tying it into kind of nature and conservation and preservation of the earth. And going back to the 5 main points, I believe that my students, if they were to do a civics project as middle schoolers, having to do with conservation, their self-esteem would definitely be boosted, because the more they learned to care about our earth and the importance of it, definitely the better they would feel about themselves. Secondly, a different heightened degree of correlation of different subject matters. Conservation is really important, and there's definitely a lot of math and calculations that have to go into it. There's definitely a lot of social injustice that happens around the world, so my students would not only be learning about the importance of conservation and science, but also how that ties in to the other different subject areas that I just mentioned, because in reality, when they're adults, they aren't just going to be dealing with math or with science issues, but rather a bunch of them all together. So a civics project would definitely benefit them in that way. The third point, an increased degree of involvement with parents and community. If my middle school students were to do this conservation project, they would kind of be ambassadors for global health and conservation. A lot of times, humans, I guess, are not aware of how we can treat our earth well, so my students, not only would they involve the parents and communities by teaching them the importance of it, that would raise their self-esteem as well, kind of being the masters on this topic and sharing the importance of it. The fourth point is really important: the heightened student cooperative learning. In the real world, when students go off to work in a business, or even work in conservation, or in a lab, or as a teacher, cooperation is just a part of human life. So by doing a civics project and learning together, they would learn to work together nicely. One student could do research while another student reaches out to the community, and a benefit to that would be that the students really get to use their differentiated gifts to work together. So maybe the extrovert could do the outreach sort of things, while the introvert really, gets down with the data, and they get to raise their self-esteem and do what they're good at the same time. Finally, more opportunities for positive middle level communication. That is just important because a lot of times middle schoolers are overlooked, and I feel like if a group of middle schoolers got together and were really gung ho about the importance of conservation, maybe they would get a little bit more attention. Even it doesn't even have to be conservation, it could be any sort of civics project. Students would definitely get recognition for doing something that is out of the ordinary, I would guess, at the middle school level. Another thing that I really, I guess, appreciated about this article was the fact that um, something I want to apply to my classroom is that a civics project does not look at the students as an A student or a C student. A civics project doesn't have that perspective, and I really want to um, apply that to my classroom. And if I ever did a civics project, which hopefully I will, I would reassure that to my students that as long as they participated, there's no way to fail. They can, if they do fail, they just try something else. But really, the only thing that they need to be confident in is their ability to participate, and that is something that you don't see in a standard classroom. So all in all, I would definitely do a civics project. You can see the different points. Developing kind of a board, letting your students in on the project, and the creative team. I think all of this is good stuff, really. It all involves the students, it involves them working towards a common goal, and I think that's really important.